Alright, welcome everybody back to another Raid Shadow Legends. I'm Lord of the Fly, your host. So, this guy right here is Sigmund the Highsheild. Sigmund the Highsheild is coming to a fragment summoning event on September 30th. Long and glorious is the story of the Sigmund and Highsheild, whose noble legions can be tracked back to the days before King Aslan united the city-states of Karata under the banner. Located on the southwestern side of the Burden Peak Mountains, the Highsheild bannery lies with fertile, pitchery valleys where countless small villages have sprung around the Baron's ancestry castle. The people who live there are merry and hospitable, known across Ketra and Avrin alike for their excellent ale, but life was not always carefree for them. For centuries, the Baronin was beset by orc, trolls, and other foul creatures that dwelled in the mountains, the surrounding hills. The raids brought much woe and destruction. Never once were the savages uprooted entirely, despite many fruitless endeavors undertaken by the ruling family, and their stalemate lasted until Sigmund, still a brash young knight back then, decided that his subjects would suffer at the hands of those scoundrels no longer. He sent a call to arms across Catron and promised to reward all those who would aid the Highsheild Baronin in its hour of need. Many were brave men and women who answered the call, noble knights and penchant crusaders, commoners, and peasants who rose to defend their homes, young mages who sought to prove themselves. Soon enough, Sigmund had a small army under his command, and he eagerly led them across the monstrous that threatened his people. 3 long years did the campaign last. The Sigmund the Highsheild won glorious aplenty for himself and his followers. A mountain of a man, he always led battles from the front, brandishing his familiar sword and turning a terrible blows aside with an enchanting shield, which is this one right here. Wherever the Baron went, no harm could befall his loyal allies, and though countless and fierce were their foes, none could stand before Sigmund and prevail. Soon the weary tribes united against the Banner Lords, but that did not avail them. When the two armies clashed in deceitful battle, Sigmund marched with his men once more. There he met and bested no less their 12 orc chieftains and 7 troll warlords of the Mistrals are to be believed. But whatever the truth might be, one thing cannot be denied. The Baron's army won a great victorious, while the orcs and their vile allies scattered and fled. And it would be a long while indeed before they dared to trouble Highshield's lands again. Though that war had drained the Baron's treasury, Sigmund did not despair. He threw his victories feast that would make the king himself green with envy, dragging his family even further in debt, and bid farewell to the brave warriors who had helped him for decades after he was neck deep in matters of governance, but that too did not dampen his spirits. To this day, Sigmund the Highsheild, now a grizzled veteran, had not lost a taste for adventure and glory. His name graces and roasters of many tourneys, and he is very eager to take up his old sword against the forces of evil. All right, so September 3rd, this guy is coming. He's coming. So he's a legendary type defense. He's a magic, affinity, and faction. He is a banner lord. On Thursday, September 30th, which is this month, by the way, raids are planning to launch a fusion event of a new champion, guys. Sigmund the Highsheild. Sigmund the Highsheild should find a noble place both in PvP and PvE content, as he owns a quite a universal but also a useful skill set. With his A1, he'll remove any random buff from an enemy with his increasing chance against bosses, and will always remove shield buffs as well. His A2 allows him to control enemies with provoke and weaken them with decreased attack. With the help of his A3, he will shield and strengthen his whole team. When hit, Sigmund will decrease the durations of the enemy buffs with his increased chance against bosses. Also, he owns quite a powerful era for Doomtower, 40% ally defense. So let's his A1 is fair fight, attacks one enemy, removes any shield buffs, also has a 50% chance of removing a random buff, has 75% chance instead of attacking bosses. A2, his A2 is Battlefield Beacon, CD4, attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn, and a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. His A3, Shield World Realm CD5, places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of his champion max HP. Also places a 25% strength buff on all allies for 2 turns. His A4 quittable P, whenever this champion is attacked, has a 20% chance of decreasing the durations of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn, has a 40% chance instead of when attacking by a boss. Sigmund will be a traditional limited time fused from 4 level 50 epic champions, instead of summoning from fragments. However, the epics themselves will need to be summoned from fragments. Ooh. So let's get that right. Okay, so Sigmund will be a traditional limited time fusion, fused from 4 level 50 epic champions instead of summoned from fragments. However, the epics themselves will need to be summoned from fragments. So you have to chase down 4 epic champions, level them up to 50, and probably ascend them as well, and then you can finally get him. And it's going to start on September 3rd. I personally myself will be going for him because I have nothing else better to do. Here's another look at him. And hopefully you guys remember faction banner lords, rarity legendary, type defense, affinity magic on September 3rd. Yep. And let's see if we can get back to that video at the very end. Yep, this is, oops, this is me, Lord of Fly, signing off, and I will see you guys later.